awesome, absolutely awesome.
I love it when a plan comes together. Definitely worth a look. Yeah, it was well on par.
Okay, good evening, hello. So I'm back from seeing the new series or the new movie from the Bourne franchise. This was the Bourne Legacy, and it stars Jeremy Renner, Rachel Weisz and Edward Norton, and it pretty much was hyped in some sense to be what was many people, some people I think actually thought that this was a reboot of the original trilogy, which in any case it isn't at all. If anything, it actually works. The timeline of this film is pretty much in parallel to what was going on in the Bourne Ultimatum. Okay, so even though you don't actually physically see Matt Damon in New York as Jason Bourne, there is mention of him. His presence is known. As I say, there's a connection. There's the interconnection of what happens in New York, and you know where Jeremy Renner's character Aaron Cross is somewhere in Alaska at the moment, training, trying to get back to back to where he was originally, you know, where it all started for him, kind of thing, because he's low on his medication. They have this type of medication that gives them their you know, physical strength and heightened intelligence and all that sort of stuff. Rachel Weisz plays a doctor who actually administers these medications, but she's not actually in charge of the distribution, as in, you know, the making of it and the distribution. Now Edward Norton's role was, he was part of a team that actually looks after not just the likes of Blackbriar and Treadstone, as we know from the first three films, but there's other programs that have been made, that have been in circulation, that other people hadn't even heard of. There's another one known as Beta, there's one known as Larks as well, so they all come into play later on in the film. But we even get, obviously, the shot of Paddy Considine's Guardian journalist when he was shot in Bourne Ultimatum. That pretty much opens the film in some sense. Then you've got, as I say, it was more, you've got Joan Allen, it appears in there as Pamela Landy. Noel Volson, played by David Strathairn, is in there as well. There's a brief mention of Albert Finney's character as well. So everything is there, it's all in place. I was very surprised that it was that integrated with the third film, with Bourne Ultimatum. But this film itself, I think, if you ask me, I think that if it wasn't for the connections and the parallel workings of Bourne Ultimatum fused into this film, I don't think the Bourne Legacy would have been that good. It still, for me, didn't feel that good because it ended quite abruptly. The ending was very abrupt. You know, it was over 2 hours, but I still sat there and thought, I'm expecting more. You know, the action sequences were good. Jeremy Renner does pull a few awesome punches, but I just felt that in some ways, even though they were trying to not better what we've had with Matt Damon, trying to match in some sense what Matt Damon has done as Jason Bourne, it didn't really have that same clarity, that same execution. There wasn't none of that realization that what we had with Jason Bourne was he was aiming for something. He had a target, he had an objective, he was always after someone or after a group of people or after something. Whereas here, even though in some sense, yes, Aaron Cross is after something, it's not as effective as to what Jason Bourne was after, if you know what I mean. So there wasn't really much, if you know what I mean. But as I say, overall it wasn't too bad. It could have been better. So I'm not saying don't go and see it. If you want to go see it, then by all means go for it. If some of you feel after watching this review you don't think it's worth seeing, I'll probably agree with you in some sense. It has its moments. Some things could have been better. I do feel that it was quite patchy in certain places. There wasn't anything really solidly connected. There wasn't a proper flow in the story. It was kind of all over the place, and then you had some elements where I thought, what I thought was going to happen didn't actually happen. There were slight similarities to what we've had in the previous 3 Bourne movies, in terms of the chemistry, as it were, between Aaron Cross and Rachel Weisz's character, the doctor that she plays, as we had with Matt Damon and the woman who played Marie, and then later on Julia Stiles as well. So all of that, it's almost similar, but nothing really, it wasn't really out there kind of thing. But in a way, I think the ending does open for another film, maybe, because, as I say, the way that it ended, it was so abrupt. But if you sort of look back and realise where it went to that end, you kind of think to yourself, okay, maybe there's still a progression. Maybe there's something more that we didn't see in this film that they will eventually show. Because I was watching all the 3 previous films with Matt Damon last night, and what I noticed is that, like, at the end of Bourne Supremacy, he's on the phone talking to Pamela Landy, and that actually occurs in Ultimatum. You later on see, right pretty much in the middle of Ultimatum, that phone call takes place there at that point. So, as I say, this is why the Bourne Legacy has that same sort of timeline connection with Ultimatum, in that, they see the news reports of what happened with Albert Hirsch, and how Pamela Landy had pretty much tried to expose Treadstone and Blackbriar, and how they were going to try and, all the things that you saw in Ultimatum pretty much comes into effect in Legacy as well. But as I say, overall, could have been better, but there you go. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say on that matter. And yeah, we'll see. Tomorrow night, well, not tomorrow night, but tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to see The Dark Knight Rises for the 4th time. Yes, I know, be quiet, whatever. Can't help it. And then on Thursday, I will be seeing Expendables 2. So expect some full-on epic male testosterone excitement to occur when I do my review. Hopefully, anyway, I'm hoping. So we'll see. Anyway, thank you all for watching. See you later.